Hey everybody, we are super excited for a behind the scenes exclusive just for crappy professionals tour of Rhinegeist Brewery out of Cincinnati, Ohio, as part of the Ohio Craft Brewers Conference. I've got Dan with Flotweg live on site at Rhinegeist. Dan, how's it
Hey
going today?
guys, it's going great. How are you?
What are things like there up in Ohio right now? What's the
Oh,
state of
it's
things?
snowy. We are snow covered, We're riding the COVID ride, but we're here. We're
Well, it looks
healthy.
like you're staying warm. I see a basketball hoop behind you and a
Basketball
few.
hoop, got some happy crowds behind me. Ready to give you guys a tour.
Awesome. Well, who do you have next to you?
Oh, well, let me introduce you to the head guy here. Look, this is Mike. Mike, introduce yourself.
Hi, Mike Parks. Oh, I guess I better put the microphone down. Hi, Mike Parks. I'm CEO of Rhinegeist. Welcome to everybody. Glad you guys can get a tour of our wonderful facility and get a chance to see a little bit more about what we're doing here in Cincinnati and all the great things that we're doing with the Ohio Craft Beer Association.
And it's been an absolute pleasure following the growth of Rhinegeist over the past few years. I mean, what you
Isn't
guys
it
have accomplished in such a short amount of
rise?
time is amazing.
Yep. So Bob and Frank did a fantastic job of creating a great culture, investing in the people, and investing in infrastructure to help build the brand that Rhinegeist is, and as iconic as it is in Cincinnati and growing across the region.
The only thing I'm a little upset about is I don't have your beers available yet in Virginia, but hopefully someday.
We're working on that. I'm excited to get to the Mid-Atlantic. I lived in Baltimore for more than a few years, so I want to be able to get up in that area also.
I'm sure it'll be here soon.
Yes. Great.
Awesome. You guys ready to go on a tour?
Let's do it, Dan.
All right. Right on. I'm going to grab, Mike, let's grab your headset over. All right, cool. My man, why don't you introduce yourself? Where are we going?
I'm Chris Shields, the Director of Education here. Been here just about 7 years. So hopefully I can answer some of your questions. Background's in production brewing, but we've gotten a lot fancier since I was brewing here. But yeah, I think we'll kind of walk around and show you all the space.
Well, I'm gonna follow you. I'm gonna twist this camera around, so I'll just follow you along. You keep talking, and then basically this is just gonna
Sounds
be
great.
like where you get to. Awesome.
Yeah. So I'll kind of start with our this is our main production brew house. So 60 barrel Braucon system. So 2 kettles. Mash, lauter, whirlpool, hop toasters, pretty automated. So most of anything that's going into cans for us is getting made over here. We're running this system, I'd say probably about 24, 5.5, if that makes sense. Usually like Sunday night, crew will get it rolling, and then usually wrapped up by 7 or 8 o'clock on Friday. And then, obviously some people coming out, doing some quality, doing some lab stuff on the weekends, of course. But really the bulk of everything we do is getting made on this brew house.
Right
It
on.
looks great even through the screen.
Kind of a little behind the scenes action. I could see Josh, one of our brewers, is looming. He probably has to do something with hops.
How's the audio doing, Andrew? Are we doing okay on
I
that?
can hear you loud and clear, Dan.
Okay, awesome.
Perfect. So I'm a big believer in, especially everybody in this group knows how probably beer is made. So this is maybe going to be a little bit of an unconventional tour, but Andrew, feel free if you've got questions, stop me at any time. Obviously, I love this view of the brew house. It's kind of all the guts, all the piping, process piping. Grain handling is kind of over behind me here in our loading docks. We have our lab over here. Obviously spending a lot of energy and effort doing our quality assurance, quality control, making sure everything is not only free from defect, but consistent.
Chris, how has your quality control program scaled over time?
It's definitely scaled over time, but I feel one of the things our founding head brewer, Jim Matt, his background was in chemistry. So we've always kind of had a little bit of a step ahead of where maybe we should have been based on our size or our production. So it's been nice that we've been able to bring in a lot of lab equipment and lab management and practices relatively early on in our experience. So, we have an alkalizer. We're running pretty advanced chemistry and microbiology, and we're running PCR both here and at our pilot facility. So gives us a great source of data, but also a lot of confidence in what we're putting out into the market.
And Dan, there's a little bit of a background noise. It's not terrible. We can still make out everything you and Chris are saying.
Okay. Stick this in your pocket.
Okay. Yeah, we're obviously underneath the brewery, and we're not super busy right now, but we are in active production. So this is kind of our cellar farm here. Cold side, we've got 240 barrel fermenters and brights. So we're quad batching into these. As you can see, a couple of our brewers down here working on some transfers, adding some juice, working on tank cleans. Kind of everything happens here. Our brewers are all cross-trained. We don't have dedicated cellar people. So it keeps it really exciting for them. They kind of always have something different to tackle, different problem to solve. And then, so this pretty much goes back. We have about 50 fermenters and brights. And then also all of our liquid handling, centrifuge, decanter are down this way as well. Air handling, nothing like it's the public tour ends here and turns because this is kind of it for what most people are super interested in. But since this is y'all are special guests, so kind of come back and see some of the other equipment that we have.
Last time at your brewery, I think all I got to see was the front bar and the ping pong tables, which was a good time, but it's nice to see behind the scenes today.
Yeah. We have our public space is really exciting. We have about a 25,000 square foot tap room. Maybe we'll wrap up over there and kind of handle that. But so this is. I don't know if we want to do some technical talk right now, but we can kind of jump in and talk about some of our equipment.
Sure. I mean, maybe we got one of Rhinegeist Brewers on board here too. You can hear me still, Andrew, right?
Your audio went out for a second, Dan, but I can hear you loud and clear right now.
Yes. So cool.
Dylan, lead brewer at Rhinegeist.
Yep.
So we've got the
Flotweg. A little slower.
Yeah. So behind us here is the Flotweg Decanter that we've been using for about 2 years, I think now. So basically what we're doing here is we will run certain beer brands through this so many amount of times. So it's helping our greater yield throughout the brew house. So this is, I'm not for sure exactly the amount that we've been saving because of this machine, but essentially it's squeezing all of the liquid out of the hops and out of the yeast. And collectively, we've been able to pick up a huge yield that eventually gets packaged as a total whole process. So we'll do a few things through this machine, and then we'll go through the centrifuge, which kind of brings everything else out in a more coarse action, I guess. So we got that running over here, which you can see. It's a little loud, so
it's live and in operation.
Live and in operation. So right now we're running a beer through here, the brand's Mathlete. So we're getting this beer super crystal clear to hit packaging. This beer does not need to go through the decanter. It's a pretty clean beer starting out. A lot of the heavier beers, hoppy beers, really things that have a lot of sediment, a lot of solids, a lot of proteins and stuff like that. We're running through the decanter. and it's made a world of difference across the board. Again, so yeah, this thing's super loud right now at the moment, being right in front of it, but it is crushing some clear beer out, and yeah, delicious beer. So
even
watch
as loud as
your.
you say it is, we can hear you pretty well. But not every
Oh
brewery
yeah.
watching today probably has a decanter. Can you go into a little bit about exactly what the decanter does?
So this has got a bowl here. If you can see this, so this is spinning at a pretty high rate. And what's happening is that's throwing, it's making anything that doesn't weigh anything essentially weigh a lot, and it throws it all to the side, and it all comes out, which is what we have over here. Coming out of here is the high strength waste, so that goes down to a high strength waste system, and that all goes out of the building to a tanker in a safe fashion, making sure nothing's going down the drain. So everything that goes through this kind of gets spun out real fast and then solidifies essentially out of the end, comes out of here. So you can see here, we're just at a weird spot, but beer comes in here, looking a little dirty.
Kind of hard to see. There it is.
So it just hit a spot where it's not so great to look at this. It's doing a discharge, but inlet and outlet of everything. So it runs through here, and then we've got an inline carb that gets everything carved up.
We have
take a
some comment.
look.
It's all dream equipment for us. Super impressive setup you all have.
Yeah. It's this along with the decanter has made a lot of our lives quite a bit easier for packaging world's sake and quality of the beer. So.
And also, Andrew, if there's any questions that come in, I wanted to also say that if anybody has any throughout this tour, like, we're welcome to take those at any point.
Yeah, absolutely. We did have a decanter question that just popped up, and they were wondering how much additional beer can be recovered from the tank's bottom.
I'm sorry, can you say it one more time?
For the decanter, how much additional beer can be recovered from the tank bottom?
It will vary on brand, but for the most part, we're getting. Let me run this. We're getting a good 12 to 20 barrels out of a 240 barrel tank. So, yeah, we're looking at 5, 10, 15% yield that we're getting back on the return from running these. So, our big brand Truth, that runs through the decanter 2 different times, set up at 2 different parameters and settings. So we run through it once, we pull the yeast out. We go ahead and once the yeast is out of there, we go ahead and we put our hops in. So we do our dry hop, let that run for a couple hours, and then we run immediately. You good?
So we've got Christian here with us too. He's one of our industry managers, and I want to bring him in here. Christian, hop in here because I know you've worked with Rhinegeist from the start. So if you want to put it to him in a different way, like how do our machines work from start the process, separator, decanter? Give us like a broad overview here.
Yeah. This machine is just doing a discharge.
Christian, if you could talk a little bit more into the mic, would be fantastic.
All right. There you go. Now I can hear you.
Yeah. There you go.
Can you hear me there?
That's better.
All right. What was the question?
We got a quick introduction on the separator. I know with the separators and decanters work in tandem. So maybe just give like a brief overview from your technical background. Like what's the biggest advantages with the 2 machines for a brewery this size?
Well, when you put the decanter into the brewery in front of the separator, it takes a whole lot of the solids out of the tank before you ever have to go to the separator. So it's a huge reduction of load on the product going to the separator, but also it takes a whole lot of the solids out of the wastewater, because normally you have to dump the bottom of this fermenter. You can see right behind us here, this bottom of the cone of this fermenter right here is exactly what it is. This whole thing would be filled with hop sludge and yeast and everything like that. And normally you have to just dump that down the drain. The city probably hates that because you're dumping that right into the wastewater. If you dewater that with the decanter, pump the solids into a truck or into a dumpster and dispose of them in a landfill or a perhaps compost, then you have basically a pre-clarified tank of beer, and then whatever goes to your separator is much easier on the machine, a lot less wear and tear, higher throughput on the separator, and as they mentioned earlier, a whole lot of yield increase because all the liquid that's in that sludge going down the drain is beer. If you can recover all that, that's money. A lot of we've seen anywhere from 5 to 10% increase per fermenter in terms of yield with that system over just having a regular separator. So it's been pretty positive for sure. And it's the biggest thing is the oxygen pickup. The enemy in the beer cellar is always oxygen pickup. So that was the hardest thing to master for us when we kind of designed the system and started pilot testing. It was really to pin down the oxygen pickup. We got that exactly as low or lower than you can do with a separator typically. So that's been a big thing for us.
And Christian, we did have a question pop up in the comments. Someone was curious, what are the advantages of using a centrifuge versus crashing or filtration?
Typically, if you're just using a separator centrifuge, it's you can cut a lot of time off your production. You don't have to sit there and wait for everything to slowly settle. You just do your initial crash to get the heavy solids down at the bottom, and the rest of the beer can be clarified with the separator. That works really well. Other advantages are, filtration is messy. You got to buy PE, coat the filters with diatomaceous earth. I think that's considered a carcinogen now as well. So, it's an old method. These are just a faster, quicker way to do it, which is actually what Flotweg means. It's German slang for like the quick way. So,
nice.
It's real nice there.
Yep.
Yeah, we've had some turnaround times on some of our bright tanks. They'll get filled. One bright tank can get filled 2 to 3 times a day, and that's just from being able to to clear this beer up in the fastest manner for the most part, which is what this and Decanter do, kind of as a handshake overall and help each other out to make sure we're getting clear beer for the most part as fast as we can and in cans as clear as they can get.
What's another advantage to separating the liquids and solids with the decanter? What do you do with the solids after they come out of there? And what kind of consistency are you getting?
So we have a couple different, basically all of this gets sent down to we have a high strength waste system in the basement that sort of filters out a lot of stuff for us to make sure that everything's getting disposed of down city drains and in the safest manner for them to make sure that nobody's hurting anybody. So a lot of that stuff will get pumped out to a farmer, and they'll come get that in like full silo fills, and they will take those, and it's good for soil. And I'm not too sure on exactly who and where it goes, but it's good as just a natural to be put back into the earth, and it's good for a lot of things. All of this yeast and hops and stuff. So, which I wish we were running it because it's pretty impressive to see. You'll see beer coming in, and what comes out of it is just it actually re-wets itself in the process of draining everything out of here because it's so dry that it cannot get out of the machine. So it literally presses every particulate out of this beer and out of the liquid, and it comes out of here just like sand, or it's pretty impressive. So all of that comes out of here and goes down to the high strength waste, and then out of here in a tanker truck. So
that's extremely impressive. We just had another comment come up in the questions. Obviously, Rhinegeist, you all are one of the top 50 breweries in the United States, so you need equipment like this. But for other people considering technology like this, when does it make sense to purchase? And at what level of beer production should they be considering a machine like this?
It's kind of a two-part question. The decanter, if you're a brewery that's sizable enough to recover an appreciable amount of beer from that, if you're losing, I think the smallest brewery that we've sold one of these systems to had 90 and 120 barrel fermenters, but they do a lot of really heavily dry hop styles, New England IPAs, double dry hop pale ales. Those are the ones that have the highest losses. So once you get to the point where you're losing beer like that, then it's worth it to look at. As far as the separator goes, that's that's more suited to the small breweries. If we sell them to a lot of breweries when they start to get around 45 to 60 barrel fermenters, and they have a canning line maybe, and they're getting into some stores, and they want that shelf stability, but also the decreased time that it takes to make each batch of beer. And so it's kind of a case by case basis, but smaller breweries generally start with the separator, and then once they get bigger, you look at the decanter system to start really increasing the yields and eliminating the losses, as well as helping out with that wastewater benefit.
And Christian, there's a slight echo on you. We can still make it out. But we had a follow-up that you kind of touched on, but I still want to throw your way. And the question in the comments is, what's your estimate for production volume needed versus capital and maintenance costs to make it feasible?
You know, as far as the separator goes, I mean, I think people, when they get to around 4,000 or 5,000 barrels a year, that's where we see a lot of customers start to look at that, the small entry-level separators. And again, it depends on their individual situation and what kind of beer they're making. If all they make is New England IPAs, then maybe they don't really need a separator. But, you know, if you're making some nice bright beers, lagers, and ale, pilsners and stuff, then, yeah, they start to look at that, and especially if they're starting to can beer and sell it in stores. And then the decanter, like I said, if they have big enough fermenters where they're seeing some appreciable losses and they think that they could really get that beer, recover a lot of beer, but also reap the benefit of the wastewater, then it's worth it to look at. And we have a pilot test this. We do a lot of pilot testing on site, and you know, it's pretty easy to calculate after running 5 or 6 batches of beer, see how much more you're going to get and work it out.
Now, another, looking at the separators, people are interested in this stuff. You know, do they come in different sizes?
Different sizes. Size question. Question was, do they come in different sizes?
Oh, yeah. This one, the Rhinegeist has here is our AC 2000 model. We go up to AC 2500. I think that there's an AC 3000 now that they've developed. But the smallest unit we have is AC 1200. And that's what we offer for the basic small craft brewery unit. It's about the size of a large pallet, or almost as big as the top of a picnic table, but pretty easy plug-and-play system. Set it in place and let it go.
And the question, you know, why Flotweg versus some of the other, you know, items, machines on the market?
There's a lot of reasons, but the number one reason would be service and support. I mean, that's our brand, our reputation. What we always hang our hat on is our service and our parts availability. No sitting around waiting 6 weeks for something to come from Germany. No calling a different office on the other side of the country because sales and service don't know what the other two are doing. You know, we keep it together and keep it cohesive. So I think that's our number one selling point. But also our machines are super reliable. They're still hand-built in Germany by the same old dudes that like to drink beer on their days off too. So, you know, it's a solid product too. So.
No, I love the focus on that customer service, and I know.
I think until about a year ago, we still had a beer vending machine in the office, right?
Yeah, last year they made them take the beer vending machines out of the factory, but it wasn't without a fight.
So sad. Well, shall we move on? I'm sure people
I'm curious.
I'm thinking about centrifuges. Maybe we want to move on. You guys want to talk about the rest of the place? Chris, you want to hop back in here with me?
Yeah, apologies everyone. You get me again.
So back, Chris.
Yeah, thank you. So we'll kind of move around. Just kind of do a quick little tour through the rest of our facility. So right up here is our canning line. So we have a
And Dan,
24.
there we go.
Oh, 1 second. 1 second.
And Dan, I love to see your face, but I'm really excited to see this canning line too.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is our canning line. The big surprise, we're running Truth right now. Truth is our flagship West Coast style IPA. This is our tour corral, so we can bring tours down here and see everything, make sure everybody stays safe. So 24 head rotary can line. This is it's not really ripping right now. When this is up and fully running, we can do about 250 cans a minute.
Wow.
So keeps us pretty busy. They're most likely wrapping up for the day, so usually able to run a few tanks at a time, or per day.
And what are we looking at on that little display table over that way? I see the great Rhinegeist
Oh,
logo.
this is
but
yeah,
what
this
does
is
it mean?
our this is just our like we normally bring our tours down here. Just kind of a selection of some of the different packages that we do. We do the 12-ounce six packs. We do 16-ounce. We do obviously not on this machine, but we do some barrel aged and sours and 500s, and then of course we can do 12 packs of 12-ounce cans as well. So kind of a nice flexibility on this line. Gives us the opportunity to kind of be flexible, change up package assortment based on what sales needs, based on what's going on in the brew house. So really nice to be able to use this machine with multiple different packers to be able to kind of get what we need.
I saw that you have a hot box coming out soon, which looks pretty exciting with a nice little variety of some of your selections.
Yeah, it's out. It's got our flagship Truth. It's got Knowledge, our Imperial IPA. It's got a locale IPA that's called Mathlete, and then it's got a pale ale that's exclusive to that pack. So that has been a really fun project. A logistical nightmare for anyone who has done mixed packs. You're probably know the pain that we're in, but some we've been wanting to do for a while and had to kind of get to a point where we could make it make sense.
No, very excited
Awesome.
to see it. And we had a thirsty person in the comments ask, are any of your beers available near Charlotte, North Carolina yet?
Not yet. Chattanooga is probably about as close as we get. Yeah, we're in Tennessee. We're in Kentucky. We just announced Michigan that we're going to be moving into Michigan. We're in Milwaukee and Madison. So we're working our way around. We try to be thoughtful and very considerate about how we expand and what markets we bring into the fold. We certainly don't want to bring a market online that we can't support. I know, like for example, we launched Chicago last year, and I think to a lot of people, the fact that it took us over 7 years to enter the Chicago market, which for us is not that far away and a huge beer market, but we wanted to make sure that we could bring our best to that market and get everything done we needed to get done.
No, it's actually
Nice.
about making those smart business decisions and scaling appropriately versus rushing into growth.
Yeah, I mean, it's growth for growth's sake is sometimes important and is certainly can be a nice thing, but we've really tried to make sure that we're growing in a sustainable way, and that hopefully when we enter a market, we're able to stay and support that market and grow with that market as the demand for our beers and ciders grows.
I love it.
All right, shall we keep it moving?
Yeah. See, watch. We got fork trucks running around here.
And Dan, I'm curious, at what point of the tour do I get my free beer?
You had to show up to get your free beer, Andrea.
I know.
You'll get it next time.
Yeah. So down this way is cold storage, sort of van height loading dock, so we can load out trucks, box trucks and vans for local distribution. Keg line here, and then that's kind of the majority of our operation. We can kind of go back upstairs if y'all want and see the tap room a little bit, and maybe get out of move ourselves into a different type of noise, some fun party noise instead of fork trucks.
That sounds good. Let's see if they can get connected here again.
Well, I can hear
Lost
you
you
loud
for
and
a
clear.
second.
I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Here we are.
Yeah, we can hear you. It's definitely
I'm back with you.
this is an old Old building for sure. So sometimes signals die a little bit downstairs.
Oh,
No,
shit.
Chris, you've been at Rhinegeist. Did you say 5 years? Did you say 7 years?
I've been at Rhinegeist since March of 2015.
Oh, awesome.
So
So, I mean,
good
obviously,
while.
you're passionate about Rhinegeist. You love working the company. But if you had to pinpoint one of your favorite things about Rhinegeist, what would it be?
Hold on. Yeah, I mean we still have audio. I think we lost video. Let's see, I think Daniel's working on it. I don't know. One thing that's been really impressive to me is just as I've grown with Rhinegeist. When I started, there were maybe 30 employees here, and we're close to 300.
Wow.
One of the things that I think is really fun is we try to do as much ourselves as we can and as makes sense. We self-distribute in Cincinnati and Columbus. We screen print our own T-shirts. We design all our own cans. Oh, here we go. We're back. So like our marketing team and design team are in-house. Yeah, I'll hang on this. So it's a nice way for us to kind of build that relationship with our team, and kind of also just keep tabs on what everything's going, and it's been a great opportunity for us to have people grow with us, which is great.
No, that's fantastic. I love it. I mean, I like I said, I love watching you grow from afar.
Yeah, you just gotta
So where are we at
next
right
time.
now? Are we in that big tap room?
Yeah, so right now we're in the tap room. I'll just kind of flip this around a little bit, or I'll make everyone dizzy. So this is our tap room space. We have a big TV in the back here for putting FC Cincinnati or Bengals games, and then what you can see behind me is kind of our original production facility side. All of this is still usable and in use. I won't wander away. I don't know. I'm gonna lose Daniel. It's gonna be great. I got his phone. I got his headset. I'm going
We'll be
rogue.
good.
I'm going rogue, everyone. But yeah, so this area here is our original brew house that we still use. We use it for so back here behind me. It's a JV Northwest 20 barrel system. This is what we were brewing on when I started, and as you can see, it's right by the bar and tap room. So that was always an adventure when we were mashing out and brewing while the tap room was open. It involved a lot of cones and security, but we use this space not as much as we used to, but everything's hard piped between the cellar downstairs and the cellar here. So we can use these tanks. We use them for a smaller batch, barrel-aged brews, wild and sour wort production can happen here. Anytime we don't necessarily need 60 or 240 barrels of some brand.
And I'm sure from the guest perspective, it's exciting to see that equipment right there, super visible, super up close.
Yeah, we always loved having the tap room kind of part of the brewery. Even the big production space, it's right back there. So you can still kind of see, it's a little bit more separate just for logistics and safety and noise. But it is nice to kind of have that connection. You can get people kind of walking around and seeing what we have. We've got, second bar that we open up when we're busy. As I mentioned, we do a lot of our own design. We have our own merch store here. So it's nice opportunity. That's something that I would recommend if anybody is still selling merch through their bar. If you have a bar that gets really busy, as T-shirts and sweatshirts, that takes up a lot of bartender time, and it's frustrating for everyone to have that experience of, you're in line trying to get a beer and somebody's trying on 6 different sizes of a T-shirt. So for us, we were able to separate that, and we have dedicated staff that do to-go beer and merch, and they're super knowledgeable about everything we sell. They can help out with sizing. They know what shrinks and what doesn't. It's kind of as random as that is, but that's been something that's been, I think, really beneficial.
But I can agree to that experience. I haven't visited your brewery in a few years, but I think it was 4 years ago when I went to that merch stand. I left with a shirt. They made sure it was the right size. They had me touch it before I even decided to give them my credit card. They did a fantastic job making sure I left with something I'd actually wear versus throw in my drawer with the rest of the beer shirts I have.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one of the things we spend a lot of time making sure that, the shirts we choose, the materials, the suppliers, like I said, we screen print them ourselves. So it's important for us. We want to have something that, becomes your favorite shirt or at least gets in the rotation.
Not merch related, but we just had a question come up. What's your capacity forecast for 2022? Able to share any fun information there?
Sure. I mean, we went back over about 100,000 barrels this year. 102 is kind of final numbers. We're looking to grow, but we're looking to grow responsibly. So I think we would love to see that number go up a little bit, but don't expect next year to be 150. We don't want that for next year. So I think we're trying to, just kind of continue to grow, continue to add to our markets and make sure we're serving them well and that we're providing, the right mix of things to the people that we're looking at. So we still have plenty of room and plenty of capacity in our space. So we're able to grow and bring on some more capacity without any worry over the next few years.
Chris is saying it right. We want to grow responsibly. We want to grow in a way that's sustainable and that we can keep that growth and not step back. We've all seen a lot of breweries that have gone out into a tremendous number of markets and then struggled maintaining those markets. And we want to go into those markets and continue to grow those markets and continue the great brand that Rhinegeist is and some of our great beers and grow those in those markets appropriately.
No, that's fantastic. Now, Mike, I've got a question for you because you're fairly new to Rhinegeist. What intrigued you most about this opportunity?
Well, I mean, you've seen the brewery, which is an incredible site. This tap room, when you walk in, is just invigorating and just makes you feel so full of life. And and then the people. I mean, the people here they love beer. They love having a great time, and the community that is Rhinegeist is it's phenomenal. And once you're here, you just want to be a part of it, and that was such a big draw. And then you've got the genius behind what Bob and Bryant did. It's just a phenomenal and fantastic experience, and to be a part of that, it's a dream come true for a guy that grew up in St. Louis and can be back in the Ohio River Valley and amongst a great group of employee base that just wants to make great beer and great products. So, I mean, what more could you ask for? So.
And Mike, were you a beer person prior to Rhinegeist?
Oh, that's a tough question. I was a bourbon guy.
Okay, fair enough.
And so but I grew up in St. Louis. So, I grew up in the backyard of AB, and my dad was a Busch drinker and a Busch. So, I look back on those days, and I think my first sip of beer was a Stag beer, if anybody knows what Stag is, and to then come kind of full circle and to be a part of this and to grow my experience with people like Chris, who teaches me every day. Try this. And with my base on bourbon and spirits, it's been a great learning experience for me to continue to expand my palate and offer some insight from a consumer goods side to help Rhinegeist grow.
And I think there's so much craft beer can learn from other industries. We keep just asking the same questions to each other. We're just going to go in a circle. Now, Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, you get to riff off of each other, and that's what's so cool to me is sitting around with these guys, and as they talk about, what about these hops, what about this, and just riff off of what they're doing and see the growth and the potential and see what we can do with our product that's truly exciting part of this job too.
Definitely. Now, we had another question in the comments just come up, and I'm curious for both of your perspectives on this. And the question is, what would be your top 3 tips for a new brewery entering the market? And for whoever asked that question, what do you mean entering the market? Market in general or a new market? Any clarification you can give would be great as well. Top 3 tips for a new brewery just coming out the gate, I guess.
I'll start with one. I think the one of the most important things you can do is figure out what you want to be. What do what do you want to focus on a certain subset of styles or European tradition? Do you want to go completely outside of that? Do you want to focus on lagers or saisons or hazies? What kind of taproom experience do you want to provide? What fits with what you want to do? Because while it's important to understand what's going to fit in the market, in the community that you're placing yourself into, which is also important, if it's not genuine to what you're passionate about, that's going to show through, and people are going to understand that it's going to feel fake. And so I think finding a way to do something that fits with you, but also fits with the community, can take a while. But I think it's an important thought experiment for even before you sign a piece of paper and get things moving.
I don't know if that was 3 tips, but definitely great insight there, Chris.
I would only add to that is just stay on top of your quality. Make a great product. If everything Chris said is 100% true, once you figure that out, but if you do not put everything behind your product and understanding that you're going to make a great product and dedicating yourself to it, it's going to be lost. So really focus on that.
And Mike, because you do come from other industries, what's something you've taken from your background and brought to craft beer that you found valuable?
Just the whole experience, right? So going from, our base ingredients all the way through to the consumer and understanding different facets and looking at the consumer a little differently, thinking about our costs and our goods and what we put into the beer and thinking about those maybe a little differently and just challenging the team to say, have you thought about a different way to look at this and explore different methodologies for ourselves? So I think that's been really effective for the team. It's opened up some eyes and opened up some ears. And that's what invigorates me about this business is such a group of people that want to continue to grow, learn, understand, and have such great open minds to see that happen.
Yeah, it's a wonderful industry to be a part of right now. Only excited even more so for the growth of the next few years. Now, Chris,
100%.
because last question for you, Chris, and I got one follow-up for you, Mike. Chris, you've been in the Ohio craft beer scene for quite some time now. And from an outsider's perspective, it's been fascinating to watch how craft beer in Ohio has grown so much. Right now, you're at the Ohio Craft Brewers Conference. Why do you believe craft beer is succeeding so well in Ohio?
I think it's a combination of things. I think for the first part, I think, and this is true, I think for the Midwest in general, is I think that we're sometimes forgotten regionally. You hear a lot more about the coasts. I'm not even from the Midwest, but I'm gonna get the Midwest angry, ignored vibe going. There's some amazing things happening here, not just in beer, in art, in food, in culture, in hopefully sports, and that's been a really great experience to come from the outside. I came from the East Coast to come out here and see the passion that people have here and the loyalty and dedication. I mean, we have people that have been fans of ours since day one, and they're not only fans of ours. They're if I'm back home in North Carolina wearing a Rhinegeist shirt, if I don't get stopped by somebody, it's a surprise. People are just very proud to be from this area and be a part of this area. And I think that's true even for people like me who is a transplant. I love it here. I love being a part of Cincinnati in the Midwest. And that, I think, that for a combination of grit, loyalty, and passion is just really unique.
No, appreciate all that insight. And Mike, final question is yours, and it's a tough one. It's not even beer related. What's your favorite bourbon? I know what it's going to be. What's your favorite bourbon, Mike?
Wow. All right. So, so I was actually on the tasting team that developed Woodford Reserve. So I have to go old school and go back to my days at Brown-Forman and go a little bit of Brown-Forman 1920. If I was going outside of Brown-Forman, I would go to a Four Roses Small Batch Reserve.
You both are making me thirsty, especially seeing that beautiful tap room behind you. I appreciate you both and Ryan guys sharing so much.
Have a beer.
I'm about to pour one. I appreciate the virtual tour. I wish I was there. I wish you all the safest and healthiest of the rest of your winters. Is there anything else you'd like to add today?
No, thank you.
No, I appreciate you all. I appreciate Flotweg for putting this together. Go enjoy some beers.
It's a great job by them.
Before too long.
Yeah, come see us.
Thanks.
Oh, I will. See you, Chris.
Yeah.
See you, Mike. Thanks
Cheers.
for the virtual tour. Cheers.
Thanks.
Cheers.